In actual copy. Okay, bring in actual copy means that whatever we have designed, we have added the different categories, like we have just added the dummy text. So bring in actual means we have to add the actual text, what things we need to add in the categories and which type of symbols we need to use. So in this we will add the actual copy or actual names of different categories in the UI. So here if you see in this mobile screen, here it's mentioned pizza, burger, okay, then here domino pizza, okay. So like this you have different text which is showing the actual categories of the mobile application. So once we design the actual categories, we add the actual categories or the actual copy of whatever we need in the application. So when we are going to develop the actual application, then we can like refer to these wireframes, and then we can add the things in the actual application. So let's see what is mentioned here. After you are satisfied with your visual hierarchy, start replacing placeholders and dummy text with real content. Actual copy are the one that is relevant to the user. So here, once we are satisfied with the visual hierarchy, like this, in this hierarchy we have to put the things. So now we have to replace the placeholder and dummy text with the real content. Like here you can see search all of the search of restaurants, pizza, okay, recommendation, popular here, home, food, orders, settings, okay. So now here we have put it the actual text and categories. There is an important reason why we should avoid dummy text at this stage. Doesn't lowering impression, doesn't communicate how the page supports user in reaching their goals. So this is the reason we have to avoid while using the dummy text, because this dummy text did not convey any message to the user, like where they have to go and what goals they need to achieve, or what type of food they need to order. So we have to replace the dummy text with the actual copy of the text. Also, a lot of visual elements we create are based on the content we have in our products. As we start adding actual content, we will realize that some UI elements or even UI sections are not necessary for our product. So the most many options which we have added are many dummy text we have added. So once we design actual copy, okay, once we add actual categories, then we can see that this section is not required, each section we can remove them. So that is why we have to put the actual content in the wireframing, so that we can easily understand what are the necessary options and what are the options which are extra and not needed in this stage. Sometimes as we fill our wireframes with real detail, we may notice the layout we have is not working well. In this case, it's important to iterate and find a better way of representing the information we are trying to communicate. So this is another reason, like whenever you are giving the actual text, then it may be cause to overflow over the screen. So there could be many options in one screen that will not convey the actual impact of the application. So we can change the layout of the screen. After we fill the page with actual copy, that test whether the page flows for the user. Some content on our page could be out of order. This is the perfect moment to recognize the content on the page and improve the composition. So here we have to, once we add the actual copy of the text, actual options in the page, so we can check that if it's giving the user a proper order to reach a specific action or not. So Once we check, then we can recognize that the content on the page is suitable or we need to improve the composition. Then here is an example of our wireframe for our home screen that has real data. Different font sizes are used to prioritize some UI blocks such as food categories. Okay, so here you can see this image they have for home page. Okay, so here are different types of blocks are used, different types of sizes used for font sizes used for the categories, so that we can understand that these are the most important or these are the main categories, and we can click on them and move to the next options. Okay, next we have ensure your content scales well. Ensure your content scales well means that whatever the device on which you are using the application, it fits to the screen of that device. Okay, so if you are if you are using the application on the mobile, okay, so it all the options fit to that mobile screen, or if you are using the application on the tablet, so it will fit to that tablet screen. Okay, so this is the simple meaning of ensuring that your content scales well. So let's see what is mentioned here. Okay, if your design looks great on a medium sized phone screen like iPhone X, it doesn't mean that the iPhone 5 and iPhone X S Max user will have the same great experience. While it's absolutely fine to start with a middle-sized screen when wireframing, it's also essential to check how content looks on different screen sizes, both smaller and larger screens, and adjust if it is required. Okay, so this is how they are saying that if on one phone our screen is fitting, okay, fit to the screen and all the options are visible and they are looking very attractive. Okay, so uh, if it's showing fully attractive and all the options are visible in small size screen, okay, so it doesn't mean that it will be same for the other mobile devices or other large screen devices. So we have to check on different devices. We have to test that each option is visible to each size of device, so that we can once we actually develop, then they will adjust to the each type of size, each type of device. Like if it's large size device, then the application should fit to that screen size, and if it's a medium or small size, then the application should fit to that screen size. Okay, next we have connect the pages together to create a flow. So this simple meaning is that we have to connect the pages in such a way that if we click on one button, so for example, if it's like chats, okay, so it will show us the chats screen. Okay, if we press the call button, so it will show us the call screen. So this is how pages are connected with different options in simple words. Okay, so like if we are searching the you can say pizza or biryani, okay, for example, from the food app, so once we click on this first option, okay, for example, this is pizza button, so once we click on it, it shows us the page in which all types of pizzas, their prices, and their flavors are mentioned, like domino, mexican, fajita, okay, small size, medium size, or large size, extra large size, their prices. So this is how this page is connected with the other page. And once we connect click on this option, so we see the next relevant page or screen. So this is the simple definition of connecting the page together to create a flow. Okay, so let's see what is mentioned here. While it's possible to ship our design as a collection of individual screens, it's better to create a flow out of them. UX flows make it easy for the team to understand the details of interaction scenarios. They communicate how people are supposed to interact with the product. So when we are shipping our designs, so we have to like we have to create different individual screens, but once we are designing and we have to create a flow, like if a user will click to this option, so what should be the next screen visible to the user. So like this we have to create different screen flows so that once the actual user interact with the application, they get the response from the application whatever they needed from the application. So UX flows will also make you think about the app's functionality as a whole. For example, after visualizing the UX flow, you might notice that need to introduce an extra state between the home screen and a page with screen results, because the backend of our system will take a few seconds to return the results. So this is how once we talk about the UX flow, we think about whole application, a whole application. So for example, if we are visualizing the UX flow, we may notice that extra state we need to introduce between one screen, moving from one screen to another, because once a user click to this any option, okay, so in the backend there small processing. On the basis of that processing, the app will respond to us, and then we will able to see the actual screen which we are desired to see. So till now, do you have any question? So let's move to other. Next is test your design decisions. Test your design decisions means like whatever the design you have created, you have to test either it is uh, perfect or you need to do any changes in it. So testing means like you have to check the flow of the design, flow of the different screen options. So all these come in the test design scenes. So testing is the final and one of the most important step in wireframing. Testing implies user interactions. That's why this term is often used in the context of prototypes, but it's possible to conduct simple testing for a flow created from wireframes. So we can create prototypes for testing, but in simply we can also create wireframes for testing, so that through wireframe we can understand that if the user will click on this option, then what will be the next screen, and whatever the screens are connected with that option. So like this we can test the user flow of the application and the different screens or options which are connected together and how they will work together. Okay, next we have different tools which we can use for wireframing. Okay, so one is Sketch. Okay, these are the different tools which we can use, and the most popular is the Figma one. Okay, this one is the most popular. Lucid Chart is also better. Okay, this Plasmic, this one. These are the different tools which are like more prepared, and this one and this one and this one. These are more like easy to use also, and interactive also. We can have different options and we can use them. So we will work on this Figma one. Okay, and your task is like you have to make an account on this. Okay, you have to go to the Figma website and you have to make your account there. So then once we will do practical, so you can make the prototype and wireframing there. Okay, so this is one task for today. Like you have to create your login, your account in this Figma website. Okay. Okay, so this is one of the tutorial for wireframing. Like in this, they are showing like how you can make the wireframe, simple wireframe. You can go through this video as well. Okay, next we have 2.5 assessment criteria, build a prototype of the mobile application. Now we have to do some practical work. Okay, and we have to build the prototype. Okay, so I will send you the design of the application. Okay, now you have to work with me. Like I will give you task and you have to do that task with me. So I will send you this screen design for login and registration. So you have to make those screen on your paper. Okay, so make them neat and clean so that we can add in the assignment when we will do the task too. Okay, so you have to do these type of practicals with me. Next, we have 2.5 build a prototype of the mobile application. The prototype should allow navigation of the application based on the user interface, but would not have any link to the database. So now we have to design and develop the prototype of the application, and that application should have the you can say interface. It should have navigation and interface, proper interface of the application, and it should not have any link to the database. We just have to create the front end of the application. Okay, once we design the prototype on the Figma, so definitely it will work, like different screens will work together. Okay, now we will understand what is the prototype. Okay, so first one, a prototype is the physical manifestation of an idea, an important step in product management. That is, it takes the conceptual the product and brings it into the real world. There are various ways that a prototype can be created, from a quick sketch to something three-dimensional, depending on the time and effort you want to spend. Okay, so prototype is the physical manifestation of an idea, like physical representation of any idea, or you can say physical representation of any website, any application. So we can use it for both websites or applications or different types of projects. So in this, we bring the actual, you can say we bring the actual idea into existence, okay, physical existence, and then on the basis of that prototype, we make its back and all the coding type stuff so that it will work. So a product prototype can even go through many stages, starting with a rough to a more functional, almost complete version of the product. It's through these exercises that design and engineering department communicate and develop the idea into a working product. Okay, so there are different stages for prototyping, and in this design and development teams collaborate with each other, and then they can make the prototype and develop the actual application or website, whatever they are making. Next, we have characteristics of app prototypes. So these are some of the characteristics. First one is interactivity. An app prototype has open functionality. This allows users to clarify which features they find are functional, partially functional, or view only. So through prototype, we can interact with the application, and we can check that what are the functional features, what are the partially functional features, or what are the features which are we only viewed. Like for example, the text boxes are you can say names of the categories can be only view only, okay, and the once we are clicking on any button, so it is a functional part. So this is how we can understand that the application is interactive through prototype. Then the representation, prototypes can run on different formats. For instance, in is the prototype design intended for Android, iOS, desktop, JavaScript, or HTML. So there could be different formats of the prototypes, like it can be for Android devices, iOS devices, for desktops, or for JavaScript or HTML, using JavaScript or HTML. So different representation is for prototypes. Then precision, it should be clear to all parties how much detail has gone into the prototype design. This may also reflect in the fidelity of the app prototype. For example, is it a low fidelity with the minimal detail, high fidelity with more the advanced features, or of feasibility prototype for live data. So it depends on the users, like designer and developer, like how they have to make the prototype. Why we need to prototype? So here we have to see why we need prototype before the creation of actual application. So what are the things we need to consider when we are designing the prototype? So one of the key aspect of prototyping is that it generates empathy for perspective consumers. In this respect, designing software or designing products for human use are not much different. Any product design without understanding the customer needs can result in unnecessary feature, poor design, and a host of problems. So when we design a prototype for any application, okay, for any website, so we can show that prototype to the clients or whatever the stakeholders are there, okay, so that they can check like whether it is correct, okay, its design options, different screens are okay for them or not, or they need any more features, or they want to skip some of the features. So we can show them prototype of the application, and then we can make the prototype accordingly, and then we can start designing and developing of actual application. So this is the reason why we create prototype. Okay, then we have benefits of prototyping. First benefit is evaluate technical feasibility. So creating a prototype makes it possible to conceptualize an idea and assess which features pose difficulty in implementation. Prototyping can thus identify anticipated physical, technical, or financial constraints. So when we create a prototype, so it makes it possible to centralize an idea and assess which features pose difficulty in implementation. So pose difficulty in implementation means once we design, once we develop them through coding, so how much complexity they will require and how much time they will require for developing actual functionality of that features. Okay, so through prototype, we can identify any physical anticipation or technical or financial constraints or limitation in the application. Then we have enhanced website quality. Okay, a well-designed prototype will enable us to conduct testing for app usability, inspect app navigation, conveniently access information on the site, determine correct placement of visual accents, what visitors should see first. Okay, so once we create a prototype, so it make us visualize like how we can conduct testing for the app usability. So for example, we can check how we can navigate through the different screens, how the different options will look once we actually develop the app, how they are placed in the different screens. So like this, we can check the quality of the application through prototype. Do you have any question in this slide? Okay. So next is effective present idea to customer. So effectively present idea to customer means that once we design and develop the prototype, so we can effectively communicate through prototype that this is your application will look like once it actually develop. So through prototype we can you can say present them effectively, like what options, what colors, what are the different features their app will have, and if they want to change anything or they want to add extra features, they can tell at this stage, so that once we finalize the prototype, then we can start working on the development of prototypes, actual prototype. Okay, so prototyping makes it possible to present your future product to potential customers before the actual launch of the product. It could also allow you to devise your marketing strategies better and start pre-sales. Okay, so this is how prototyping makes it possible to present whatever the future product is, to the stakeholders, and they can get the feedback on that prototype design and options and features, and then if anything required to increase or decrease, so they can do this. Then we have reduced risks. Projects with a complete prototyping process are at lower risk than projects without prototyping. Okay, so once we make a prototype of any project, any website, or any application, so it reduces risks of development and design. Okay, we can have idea through prototype, like okay, this is the option and this is unnecessary option, these are the main options, which we need to add. These are extra options. Without these options, app can work smoothly. So we can you can say reduce them. Okay, so this is because prototyping directly affects project resources, time, and budget. Through prototyping, it is possible to estimate the resources needed and time for development. So once we design the prototype, so it directly affects the resources. Okay, through prototype we can understand what how much resources we required, how much time we required, how much budget we required when we are designing and developing the actual application. Okay, so next we have iterate at lower costs. Okay, iterate at lower cost, like for a prototype, we are using online tools like Figma. So they are free, most of time they are free, and we can design whatever the design we want to make. Okay, and then we can make changes on that design at lower cost. Okay, so this is how it have less cost for iteration or changes. So information gathering from potential customers through prototyping makes it possible to improve the product until an optimal product is formulated. A good idea can be to create several prototypes before the launch of mass production so that the additional cost of unsold products and reprogramming can be curtailed. So once we design a prototype, we can you can say we can make many prototypes for one product. So whatever the product or prototype having more positive feedback, then we can develop that product or in actual through coding. Okay, so this is how it reduce the cost of the products. Okay, next we have simulate the future product. The most important advantage of prototyping is that it creates a model of the final product. Okay, so this create a model of actual product. Okay, it can help customer to invest in the product prior to any resource allocation for implementation. We can discover design errors and check their correctness before going to production. So in prototyping process, we can check the errors, we can check the design errors, and we can check the correctness of the different options before going through actual production. Then provide focused feedback. Exposing the prototype help to get focused customer feedback on the desired qualities in the product. This feedback is critical to understand the needs and expectations of users, business requirements, and gain a clear idea of what the product is headed for. So once we design the prototype of any application, we can show that prototype to different users and we can gather the feedback. And on the basis of that feedback, we can check what are the improvements or limitations are there which we have to focus on, and then we can work on those improvements and we can make the final prototype of the product, and then we can go for actual development of the application or a website. Okay, do you have any question till now? Okay, next we have planning. Through prototyping, the design team gets essential information that helps them to plan out the implementation. A prototype helps build user stories and emphasize on user needs. This brings substantial benefits to the Scrum teams. Okay, so through prototype, the design team gets in necessary information, and it will help them to plan the implementation of the actual application, and they can build the stories. Okay, they can emphasize on user needs through prototype. Okay, build user stories means like whenever we are performing an action through app, so we go through from different steps. Okay, so let's say for example we have to transfer funds to someone. Okay, so for that first we have to log into the banking application. Okay, then we have to select the option transfer funds. Okay, then we have to select the account number and amount of the receiver. Okay, account number of the receiver, then we have to enter the amount, and then we have to click on generate OTP. Okay, once we get OTP, then we have to confirm, and then the payment will be transferred. So this is how we have gone through like 5-6 steps to perform a single action. So this is called the user stories. Okay, like how the user will go through different steps to complete a task. Okay, next we have quick and easy. A designer can quickly develop a ready to implement prototype even from a simple idea on paper if they understand the logic and functionality of the product. So once we develop the prototype, then it will help designer to quickly develop a ready to implement prototype even from a simple idea on paper, and if they understand the logic and functionality of the product. So this is how the prototype helps the designers. Then Figma, this is the tool which you have to use for developing a prototype. For this project, we are using the Figma tool. If you don't like Figma, there are other alternatives like Adobe XD and Sketch, but again, for this walkthrough, we are using Figma. Okay, so this is Figma is online UI UX design tool. Okay, and through this tool, you can design the prototype of the application. So for creating the prototype of your scenario example, okay, for school, we have to design different screens. We have to make paper mock-ups. Then you can say sketches and storyboards, and then we have to you can say make the prototype.